zombies and a love story?
They really don't go together. But they do have warm bodies.
Somehow. I have to give the author props for that part.
Because honestly, you and I were squidged to begin with. We're like, zombie?
Yeah. It's like,
So, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
There is a book. We're not going to talk about the book too
No.
much here. Other than it does, the movie and the book do coincide very well together.
Yeah. So if you watch the film and enjoy the story, definitely go check out the book.
Oh, yeah.
Give you something fun to do. Plus, there's a sequel in the book. There's not a second movie, but there is a second book.
Right. So, Warm Bodies follows the trials and tribulations in the daily routine from the perspective of R, who is a zombie.
And R is cool.
He's a zombie, but he has elements of his humanity left.
So, instead of, just mindlessly all day, brains. No, he's wandering around and collecting things like record player and listening to music that he likes.
He has a little crash pad on a plane. Because
Which
he's
makes sense.
at an airport.
Yeah.
But he has his collection in there, and he shuffles over to his plane at night and plays his music.
Mm-hmm. And then he shuffles to other parts of the airport and sees what everybody else is doing, which is the same thing they always do, is just shuffle around the airport.
And then they get the urge to go find food. And
which is brutal.
That's how he meets a girl. And does the teenage boy thing.
Yeah. And with brains falling out of his mouth.
Yes. As he was eating her friend.
Yeah.
Or her fellow gatherer huntsman.
Instead, she's the one girl he doesn't want to eat.
Yeah. So, you get the unique perspective of the zombie versus the survivor.
Yes.
The person was able to get away. And initially, she wants to kill him.
Which makes sense. He just ate her friend.
And he's a zombie, but they end up, going...
When she realizes that he isn't going to hurt her, but she's separated from everyone, there ends up becoming this kind of kinship that develops.
Yes, and he kind of keeps her from being recognized by other zombies, which is kind of one of the comedic moments.
It is.
She tries to... and he's like, there are other zombies who are like,
eh?
Like, the hell you say?
Yeah.
So...
Okay, she smells alright.
Yeah.
Because he rubs her down with, rotten meat and stuff.
Yeah.
But, which would have been horrific.
Oh, that would have been horrific. So, one thing this movie brings out is there are levels of zombies.
Mm-hmm.
R is one, and then you reduce down to almost walking skeletons that nothing is left of that person.
And that's where you really get into the horror element with this film, because the idea that you have pretty much skeletons that actually, because the idea, in traditional zombie movies, is you shoot them through their head, they're dead.
Right.
Whereas these skeletons, that doesn't seem to matter.
Because you get, these skeletons, they still have a little bit of skin and stuff, it's just the dry, old corpse.
They're completely desiccated, there's no water left in their body, so they're literally old, dried-up, skin-covered skeletons.
But they're still being driven by whatever it was, be it virus or something else. That
to feed, even though they don't even have a stomach left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's actually a really creepy idea.
It's a creepy idea because then you wonder why.
Yeah.
Because there's actually nothing for virus to even feed on at that point. So you get to see all those different elements, and then you kind of get it reversed because she takes R back to the human compound.
Yes.
Because he's becoming more and more human.
And she's afraid that he's suddenly going to become in danger of being around the other zombies.
And plus they need to know what about R is reversing
this whole virus.
Yeah. So then they find, eventually others and bring them back to the compound, and we have, multiple storylines with that.
But, the fact that the author had the idea to take things from the point of view of the zombie instead of the people trying to survive in a world of zombies, that was the first time that'd really been done.
It makes it unique, and then the director took it a bit further, and brought that to life.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, in the book, you would get more, in terms of, like, R's internal thoughts, where you're not going to get as much from that in the movie, because...
Well, you can't. It's a different medium.
Yeah.
And plus, in order to... you figure your average script is roughly 100 pages. Your average novel is roughly 250 pages,
It gets there.
Yeah.
And you get to see the important factors, like, why is R named R? Well, because R doesn't remember what his name is.
Yeah. And so they're kind of the idea of Romeo and Juliet, so they just call him R.
Yeah.
The interesting thing also, though, is the fact that he chooses to continue having the name R even after... because he doesn't remember his original name, but to him... what he went through, he still remembers what everything was like as a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's his backstory.
And I think that's, he's accepted that as his new life.
Yeah.
So it becomes, life anew and, life to share with the person who eventually does become his romantic partner.
Yeah.
And his heart does start beating again and he becomes more human.
But... in terms of all the movies that we've talked about this month, this one is probably the closest to a romance.
Yeah.
Truly.
To the more romantic side of it, this is our style of romance.
Yeah.
So.
Comment down below with what your favorite romantic zombie movie is.
Or romantic horror movie, whatever.
Yeah. Until next time.